Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day to everyone. So in this screencast, I will show you the E-lab on the continuous distillation column system. So before we proceed with the experiment procedure, we have to perform general startup procedure. First thing first, you have to make sure all valves, in this distillation column system are initially closed. So as you can see, the symbol for the for the V11, V12, V6, V5, all the VV you have to make sure initially closed. Then you have to turn on the main switch at the control panel as well as on the PC, which located next to this distillation column system. Then after that, you have to make sure that your reboiler E301 is filled with the 25-liter mixture which containing ethanol and water at the desired composition 2 to 3, as well as your feed vessel, this one is filled with the remaining ethanol water mixture. Open valve V9 to drain any remaining liquid in the bottom product by placing the beaker below the valve. Place a beaker below valve V11 as well as a V16 respectively to drain any remaining liquid at the top product, this stream. So firstly you have to open the valve V11, then close back, then to drain out the remaining liquid from this part, from this stream, you have to open valve V11, V12 as well as the V16. So after that you have to close back the valves. Then at the control panel, set to the remote position 2, PT201 at position 1 and TT104 at position 1. Next step, partially open valve V25, V26 as well as V27. Okay, then slightly open the valve of the water supply, which is the cooling water supply, to let the water supply flow into the condenser E302, cooler E303 through the valve V26, and cooler E304 through valve V27, and make sure that the water, which is the cooling water, is flowing inside the core of the condenser as well as the core inside the cooler for E303 and E30. For DC, run until a stable condition is observed. Okay, how to make sure the stable condition is reached? Okay, when the temperature indicator on the top of the column, which is TT113, okay, give a constant reading with the allowable fluctuation plus minus 0.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, now we proceed with the sampling procedure. So I will show you the precaution step before starting the heating process. First thing first, you have to make sure all the remaining liquid in the sampling valve, which reflect to the V9, V11 as well as the V16. Okay, you have to make sure the remaining liquid inside this valve are removed. Okay, so how? We have to place the beaker below the valve V9. Same goes to the V11 as well as the V16. Okay, for the V9, okay, we have to slightly open valve V32. Okay, then slightly open, then close back. After all the liquid flow through the E304, your cooler, then you open your V9, then close back valve V9. Same goes to the V11. Okay, you place the beaker below valve V11 and V16 respectively. You open the valve V11, then close back, hence open valve V12 as well as the V16. Then after all the remain liquid and at this part, okay, flow through the E304 and into your beaker, then you close back your valve V16 as well as V12. Okay, now we proceed with the sampling procedure. Okay, basically sample we can be taken from the distillate, which is at the top side, as well as the bottom product for the analysis. Okay, I will show you first for the distillate top sampling first. Okay, for the distillate top sampling, they have two options, whether you want to take your sample at this part or this part. Okay, so for this part, okay, you place a beaker below the valve V11. Okay, then go to your control panel, set the reflux divider to position 1, which is your total distillate. Okay, then open valve V11. So after you collect enough sample, then you close back the valve V11. Then go back to your control panel and then switch the reflux divider back to the original setting, because just now you turn to the position 1, now you turn to the back position back. Okay, then for the second option, which is at this part, okay, you place a beaker below the valve V16 and then go to your control panel, set the reflux divider to position 1, which is a total distillate, and then open valve V12, then V16. Then after you collect enough sample, close back valve V12 and V16. Then don't forget to switch the reflux divider back to the original setting. Okay, that one for the top side, for the top sampling. Okay, now we go to the bottom sampling. For the bottom sampling, you place a beaker below the valve V9. Okay, then slightly open valve V32 to allow the liquid flow through the bottom cooler, which is E304. Then you close back the V32. Okay, so you open valve V29 after you collect enough sample, then close back valve V9. Okay, now we proceed with the experiment procedure, which reflect to the batch distillation at total reflux. In this experiment, there have two objectives to be achieved. Number one is to determine the number of the theoretical plate or stages at the total reflux for different liquid and vapor loading, which our heater power of 50% and 75%. Second objective is to determine the effect of the liquid and vapor loading on the theoretical number of stages at the total reflux. Okay, so this experiment only can start after you perform the general startup procedure. Okay, then we can start our experiment. Okay, first step, at the control panel, you have to make sure that your reflux control is set to the 0 position, which is total reflux. Next, on the PC, we set in the manual mode. Then, we set the heater power control NV to 50%. And please make sure that our set point of reboiler temperature as well as set point value SV at the 85 degrees Celsius. Okay, then when the top column temperature sensor TT113 as well as the bottom sensor TT102 show a steady state reading, you can record the temperature at each tray, okay, top and the bottom column on the control panel. Okay, then you can collect a sample product at the top, which is V11 or V16, okay, as well as the bottom at the V9, okay, and you have to make sure that all the remaining liquid in the sampling valve V9, V16 as well as the V11 are removed. Okay, so to collect for the top product sample, okay, you have to place the beaker below the V11. Okay, you place the beaker at below the valve 11. Then you go to the control panel, set the reflux divider to position 1, okay, which is total distillate. Okay, after you set the reflux divider to position 1, then you only can open the valve V11 to collect the enough sample of the top product. Then after that, after all the sample enough from the V11, so you can close back the valve V11. Okay, then hence you have to set reflux divider back to the original setting. Just now from the position 1, now you turn to the position 0, which is total reflux. That one, first option for to collect the top product sample. Okay, second option to collect the top product sample, you place your beaker, okay, below valve V16 here. Okay, then same, you set the reflux divider at the control panel to position 1, which is a total distillate. Then after that, you can open valve V12, okay, as well as V16, okay, to collect the inner sample of the top product. Okay, then after that, you close back the valve V12 as well as the V16. Then don't forget to set reflux divider back to the original setting to position 0, which is total reflux. Okay, so that one for the top product. Then we proceed to the bottom sample. Okay, to collect the bottom sample, okay, we put place the beaker below the valve V9. Okay, then slightly you open the valve V32, okay, in order to allow the product sample flow through the bottom cooler. Okay, you open slightly up to 3 seconds. Then you close back valve 32. Okay, then after that, you open the valve V9 to collect the inner sample bottom product. Then you close back the valve V9. Okay, then after that, all the sample you collect from the top product, bottom product, then you can record the refractive index of the product sample into the data table. Okay. Then after record the refractive index, turn off the heater and wait for approximately 10 to 20 minutes and allow the DC unit to achieve a new steady state. And finally, drain all the mixture in the top as well as the bottom tank. Okay, then you have to repeat for different liquid as well as the vapor loading by adjusting the heater power NV from 50% to 75%. Then you have to perform those steps until you get a new refractive index of your product sample. Okay, then finally you turn off the heater at the control panel.